A very good morning and welcome back to the penultimate round of FIM CEV Repsol Championship action, coming to you live from the Circuito de Albacete. 2 weeks ago in Jerez, we saw Ethan Guevara wrap up the European Talent Cup Championship in dominant style. A 6th victory in a row made sure that he was the 2019 champion. He couldn't back it up with a 7th straight win, a magnificent 7th win in the second race of the day in Reiter, instead of having to settle for 3rd place. But it was typical European Talent Cup action in both of the races in Reiter 2 weeks ago. And this is a little reminder of what went down at the Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto a fortnight ago.
Yeah, it was a cracking ride again from Ethan Guevara. Didn't have it all his own way, but it was the race one that saw him crowned the 2019 European Talent Cup champion. Because of that man there, Milan again, not getting the position he needed in race one, which meant Guevara could go out in race two, do what he does best. He was leading from the front. The number 80, that was the man, David Munoz. Second in the championship.
It was far more close and contested in race 2, though. We saw 3 breakaway riders in race number 1 in the form of Guevara, Sacco and Moreira, but there were 7 all battling for it in race number 2. Eventually, Diogo Moreira came out on top, the man that will actually start this race from 2nd on the grid, the Brazilian. I'm sure will be delighted by the news this week that MotoGP will be returning to Rio de Janeiro in 2022. If he continues picking up race victories in the European Talent Cup category and then in further championships in his career, hopefully we will see him on the grid in Rio de Janeiro, a home hero in 2022. But got a debut win last time out, now starts from 2nd on the grid, 19 laps ahead of the European Talent Cup grid. So Sun continues to beat down in the heart of Spain here in Circuito de Albacete. About a 5-hour drive from Barcelona, about 2 hours from Valencia as well. In the hills of Spain, but the track itself doesn't have many gradient changes whatsoever. Meanwhile, a bit of drama on the grid here. We're just looking at the champion Ethan Guevara that will start from pole position. The number 76 of Joel Kelso, the Australian, was supposed to start from the front of row 4, but looks like that's not going to happen because the Australian's Leopard Junior team machine has just been wheeled off the grid. So the Australian Joel Kelso looks like it will be the back of the grid or a pit lane start for him. He's just had some technical problems on the grid, it appears. Meanwhile, no such issues for this man, not only today, but throughout the season. Ethan Guevara already wrapped up the championship thanks to 6 victories that he managed to put in concession. Amazingly, in this European Talent Cup Championship, nobody had ever won any more than 2 races in a row, but this man went on to do 6 back-to-back race wins, and unsurprisingly, was crowned champion as a result. He'll start from pole position, a 3rd pole of 2019 for him, and will eye that magnificent 7th win of his season. But this man will have a couple of queries for him, I am sure, just like he did in Jerez 2 weeks ago. Had to play 2nd fiddle in the first race, coming across the line in 2nd, but then got the better of him, a debut win in that final race, and now starts from the front row of the grid alongside him, the 15-year-old Brazilian Diogo Moreira.
Yeah, with his results in Jerez, he managed to jump from 14th in the championship to P6 in the championship, so those 2 podiums really doing Moreira, the Brazilian, good stead in the 2019 overall standings. And like we say, he's one for the future for sure, with the Grand Prix paddock heading back to Brazil in 2022. Here's your man 3rd on the grid, Daijiro Sacco. Solid ride from him in race 1 at Jerez, managed to get a podium just behind his teammate and Moreira. He's 7th in the championship, best of 3rd in Barcelona, so starting from the front row he can hope for the same result. 3rd in Jerez also, like I just said, and a best of P9 in Aragon in this year's Red Bull Rookies Cup. So all in all, a very good season for the Japanese rider. As we now turn our attention to Alex Milan. Incidentally, he won here in the rain-soaked conditions last year, so he's got race-winning pedigree around the Circuito de Albacete. Different conditions obviously here in 2019, but starting from 4th place, he'll be hoping he can battle it in the leading group and challenge for a second podium of the season. That other one coming in Aragon. Here's the Spaniard, Jose Reiter, starting from the middle of the second row, 5th in the championship, best of P2, like you see there on the screen, in Aragon, 87 points, 4th in the European Talent Cup last season. So another good year for the youngster.
Rider coach for the Australia Galicia junior team, Kev Coghlan, the Scot, as his umbrella holder there, himself a former Moto2 contender in the European and World Championships as well. Here is the man, a part of the WWR junior squads. Still got these Best of Capital Dubai leathers on, but I mean, they have pulled the plug on the World Championship funding. Fermin Aldeguer, yet to pick up a win in 2019, but he's been a regular contender, and look at that, his fan club are out in full force as well. Goodness gracious me, you can't miss them, can you? In the bright yellow.
Good to see that.
Old Fermin Aldeguer's fan club. You wouldn't want to be about them in the when there's a few wasps about, would you?
Oh God, no. That's your worst nightmare, isn't it?
Oh, for some reason, the Circuito de Albacete has an abundance of flies for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably because we're in a little bit of the hills, but there's flies everywhere. So it's a good job that the Aldeguer fan club aren't anywhere near us, because that would be my worst nightmare.
We just saw the number 38 on the grid, Juwan Rodriguez. He's 18th in the championship, a best of 8th in Aragon. So starting from the front of row 3, he can hope for bettering that this time around. Qualified 4th at Jerez, but only scored 2 points. So not the Sunday he would have been looking for down in the south of Spain, but he can correct that this time around as the 1 minute board pops up.
Yeah, Rodriguez will be hoping for a much better day today than he had in Jerez. Just got caught up in a couple of incidents, was a bit unlucky, but let's see how he gets on in this one. So here is your starting grid for the only European Talent Cup race of the day here in Albacete, with your champion Ethan Guevara starting from pole position. Moreira will start alongside him, and then Jajira Sacco rounded out row number 1. Row 2, Alex Milan, Jose Antonio Rueda, and then Fermin Aldeguer. And row 3 of the grid, Juwan Rodriguez, Daniel Munoz, and Marcos Ruda, another of the Cuna de Campione squad members.
Row 4 was meant to be Joel Kelso, but he got wheeled off the grid. Not sure what the problem is there. He's followed by Ivan Ortola and David Alonso, Adrian Cruces, David Munoz, and Clement Rouge is row 5. And row 6 is Palazzi, Bin Asman, and Fallon, the Frenchman.
Bin Asman comes in good form, picked up a double podium in the Asia Talent Cup in Buriram just a week ago. Here's row 7, Jack Hart, Eric Fernandez, Roberto Garcia. Row 8, Gavin Plonks, who had a crashing warm-up this morning. Then Dirk Geiger and Sergio Caro. Row 9, Noah Detweiler, Mattia Falzone, and Dean Vinales as the European Talent Cup grid motor away in front of us. God, they don't have to make a noise.
They are so loud. 28th is Zonta van den Gorberg, followed by Meyer and Volpi. Falcone, Moore, Tapio, row 11, and row 12 is Torresias, Koffler, and Kiko Maria.
Zonta van den Gorberg, a name to just keep an eye on, because he got a 12th place grid penalty as a result of a bit of slow riding yesterday, but he did have the pace to be qualified inside the top 10. He was only a 1/10 of a second away from P2. So the young Dutchman will be hoping to battle his way through the field of Van den Gorberg, so we'll have to keep an eye on the number 84. The elbows out for him. Meanwhile, as we assume, temperature just starting to rise here in Albacete, now up to 30 degrees track temperature. There is the number 84 of Zonta van den Gorberg, starting from slightly further down the grid. Row number 10 for him, but I'm sure he'll be starting to pick his way through the field. In terms of the championship picture, well, yes, the champion has already been crowned, but it's quite the scrap ongoing for 2nd and 3rd place, as we can see here, between the two Angel Nieto junior team squad riders. David Alonso and Ivan Ortola actually start alongside each other on the grid on row number 4, but we've then got a couple of Australia Galicia Talent team riders in the form of Diogo Moreira and Jose Rueda fighting for 2nd and 3rd. There's the WWR Junior Talent team riding Fermin Aldeguer that we've mentioned. He's 4th in the championship and at the moment level on points with Ortola. You can't discount Jajira Sacco as well, the young Japanese rider. He's been showing some good form of late. A couple of front row grid slots for him. He's yet to really convert that into any solid results on a Sunday. A couple of podium finishes for Sacco so far this year, but he has got the form and the pace to contend for the win.
He looked formidable in Jerez, so another front row start. Can he make it count off the first row?
Last man to the grid, the number 23 of Alex Milan. Winner here 12 months ago in Albacete in completely polarising conditions. This time he's got the sunshine to contend with. But starting from pole, he's your 2019 champion, eyeing a magnificent 7th win of the season. And he gets a slightly disappointing start from pole position because Moreira alongside him gets a great jump, as does Jose Rueda from row number 2 of the grid. The pocket rocket, the number 95, has blasted through from row 2. Meanwhile, there goes Milan up the inside. He'll take 2nd place, but it's the men that start from row 2 that have got the best starts. It's Reiter that gets the whole shot, and Milan who's settled into 2nd place. Meanwhile, that's a handful of riders that have gone down behind. How many have gone down there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least. We'll have to get information through to us just to rattle off exactly who's gone down there. Number 21 is one of them. That's Vincent Falcone that's gone down. Is that the number 86 as well that's gone down? That's Mario Maya, one of the Leopard Junior Squad riders, down as well. So a number of the guys in the further down the grid have crashed out at turn number 1. But meanwhile, none of the leading contenders look to have been caught up in that. Guavaria champions there further down the grid. It's a terrible start from pole position for him. Not what he would have wanted, settling into 5th. And who else has gone down there? That looks like it's Falcon, one of the French riders. Disappointing for him because he was actually contending right at the front of the race in Jerez a fortnight ago, but he won't be doing the same here. Meanwhile, let's focus on the front. It's Moreira that leads. Sorry, Rueda that leads ahead of Milan and then Moreira, the 2 Australia Galicia junior talent team riders just starting to take control at the front of the race. They're going to be 1-2 soon, no they're not. Look up the inside from Moreira, but no way through.
Yeah, not quite there, but that corner is going to host a whole amount of overtakes for sure. All the red flags are out. I was going to mention, let's hope there isn't any red flags for that turn 1 incident, but the red flags have come out under riders cross over the line.
So red flag on the opening lap. One of the riders just still receiving some medical attention on the outside of turn number 1 as a result of that crash on the opening lap. So the correct decision made there. Red flag comes out on the opening lap. Means that that start is null and void. It's another opportunity for Ethan Guevara to start from pole position. He'll be hoping to do a much better job than what he did first time around. He came across the line in 6th place. Swallowed up on the first lap, was he 2019 champion. There's another of the riders that's gone down, David Munoz. So it was at least 5 or 6 riders that went down. It was like Skittles at the first corner.
Yeah, I didn't quite see what happened. Obviously, a few of them went down. So, and the first corner is a quite tight right-hander, and there's a whole host of riders barreling into turn 1. So, doesn't come as quite a surprise. There was a little bit of contact, but unfortunate for the riders who have gone down. I'm not sure who it is who's receiving treatment at the minute, but the red flags have come out, and the riders will come slowly back down, back into the pits, and we'll get a restart underway as soon as possible.
That's Matteo Volpe, one of the 658 junior squad riders. Here's a replay of the crash. I think it will pretty much be someone just touched the front on the inside. Yeah, and then everyone just collected, and it's a nasty crash there. How many have gone down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders all on the deck. With Volpe, Falcon, the number 60 getting caught up in that one as well.
Sergio Gomez is 60.
So it's a whole host of riders. That could well be, is that Noah Detweiler that's gone down? I think it may well be, with the Swiss flag on the back. He's the only Swiss rider competing in that one, so a whole host of riders gone down in that one. It's good to see the vast majority up on the feet. Fingers crossed the rider that's just receiving some medical attention at the moment is okay.
The good thing is he was moving, so just taking their time to get him on the stretcher, which is the right thing to do, as the riders rumble down back into the pit lane. As you say, Jack, not the best of starts from your champion Ethan Guevara from pole. He got not the best of launches, instantly getting passed by the man second, Diogo Moreira, but it was the 95 of Jose Antonio Reiter who got the best start. He led around the first lap, as we see the ambulance track side. Not a good sight, but we'll wait for confirmation to see.
Meanwhile, we will have a restart. 12 laps it will be. We're just getting confirmation of everybody coming through. So that's the number 86 there of Mario Meyer that went down as well. Just trying to make a note of the guys that we won't see restarting. So yeah, pit lane will open in about 4.5 minutes time. 10 past 12 local time here in Albacete. Quick restart procedure, so only one team member will be allowed out on the grid. It'll be park themselves up wherever they are on the grid, quick pat on the back, quick high five, and they'll then sprint off the grid and we'll get underway. And it'll just be 12 laps, so the original race distance of 19 laps has been reduced significantly down to 12, so it'll be a bit of a sprint race for European Talent Cup glory here in Albacete, as we just start to put out all of the markers on the grid. So far, the riders that we do know that have gone down: Sergio Gomez, Noah Detweiler, Mario Meyer, Mattia Volpe as well, the number 77. I think we saw Vincent Falcon, the number 21, go down. So those are 5 of the 6, all from row number 8 backwards. So there will be a few gaps as we go down from rows 8, 9, 10 and 11 as a result of all those riders that caught up in the shenanigans on the opening lap. But it looks like a couple of the riders were able to remount, so fingers crossed the vast majority of them will be able to take part in the restart. Certainly the 2 bikes that were parked up were those of Mario Meyer and Sergio Gomez. We might not see them back out on the restart. But meanwhile, as we say, pit lane opening in just over 3 minutes time here, where Jose Ruedo, having come through from the middle of the second row of the grid, will be absolutely fuming at the fact that the red flag came out after making such a great jump from there. Qualifying yesterday, incidentally, was a bit of a surprise. How they do it with so many European Talent Cup riders. They do split them into 2 groups, Group A and Group B. And Group A yesterday was significantly quicker by nearly half a second, 0.6 of a second. So you see this strange sort of transition whereby the pole man, Ethan Guevara, set a 136.7. The man in the middle of the grid, Moreira, set a 137.4, 7/10 of a second slower. But then the man next to him, Tajira Sacco, on the outside of the front row, did a 136.8, almost 6/10 of a second quicker than the man who's further ahead of him on the grid. But that's the way it goes. It will go AB, AB down the grid, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the clean-up operation just ensuring that's not on the racing line, which is good news. That's on the outside of track limits. So mopping it up, but it shouldn't have too much of an impact once we get back underway. As you can see, the ticker tape along the bottom of your screen just confirming what we've told you. Quick restart procedure at 10 past 12. That's just 2 minutes away now. So pit lane will be open for 60 seconds. Everybody will file through for the sighting lap, take the place on the grid where one member of the team will be there just to make sure all is okay. They'll quickly sprint off. The warm-up lap will get underway, and then we will have a 12-lap dash for European Talent Cup glory here in Albacete. 4 races coming your way today, incidentally. If you've not seen the schedule, we've had one European Moto 2 race. Won't spoil the result if you're just joining us now, but well worth catching up on, as we had quite a bit of drama. Meanwhile, this is just a replay of the incident that we saw. Why we're having a delay at the moment. 6 riders all going down, involving the likes of Noah Detweiler, Mattia Volpe, Vincent Falcon, Sergio Gomez, Mario Meyer as well. And a couple of other riders were forced to run wide as well. In total, a good 9 riders, 10 riders with 6 on the deck and another 4 forced to go wide, been caught up in it, so they can get confirmation. There's the 77 of Volpe and Gomez. Noah Detweiler, the man that is absolutely fuming.
Yeah, understandably so. Never good to build up your whole race weekend for it to end at turn 1.
So yeah, as I was saying, the schedule today, one European Moto 2 race already ticked off. We've got European Talent Cup action that will be getting back underway in just a few moments' time. After that, the Junior World Championship, just one race here. 25 points up for grabs. The championship can be decided here with Jeremy Alcoba. Quite a demanding position in that championship. then with 2 races at the season finale in Valencia. It looks likely they'll have to be decided there, but it could well be wrapped up here. And then we round the day out with another European Moto 2 race as well. And don't forget to join us for the season finale in Valencia. We've got a whole host of 2-wheeled action coming your way. Not only have you got Albacete this weekend, next week, start of the flyaways in the MotoGP World Championship, Japan, then Australia, then Malaysia in Sepang. Week after that, it's back to CEV action in Valencia. And a week after that, the MotoGP season finale in Valencia as well. So 5 race weekends in a row. It's exactly what any motorsport fan would want.
Absolutely perfect towards the end of the season. Then we get a nice little winter break before we do it all again in 2020. As we see the riders now heading round on the sighting lap, getting heat into the tyres once more. Quick start procedure, as we've said. Only 1 mechanic from each team will line up. A little bit of a chat, and then we'll be back underway racing for a 12-lap dash. Nice little sprint race for these European Talent Cup riders to end their Albacete weekend with.
There's the number 74 of Tajiri Saka. Will start from the outside of the front row. Number 20 of Jack Hart in front of him. Just finished a 2nd year in the British Talent Cup. Again, putting some good performances there. And all the confidence that he's managed to pick up in that series so far this year. He then put to good use in Jerez last week. It was best ride of the year by some margin by Jack Hart. Unfortunately, just ended in disappointment when he crashed out in the closing stages, but he was part of a leading gaggle of 8 riders fighting it out for victory. Such a shame that he couldn't see the checkered flag, because it would have been his best performance in this championship by a long way. Starts this one from slightly further down on the grid. He'll start 19th, will Jack Hart, but if he can get a good start, hopefully he can latch on to the leading group and put in a similar performance this time around.
It's no mean feat challenging the likes of your champion Guevara at a circuit they all know very well, at the Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto. So yeah, kudos to Jack Hart for that ride, and he'll be hoping he can challenge for the points again in Albacete as the riders now take their positions on the grid, and we'll go for a warm-up lap and then we'll be back underway. The boards are clear, 30 seconds down.
All team members have made their way off the grid. Quick restart procedure going to plan. Warm-up lap about to get underway here in Albacete. So let's
got a problem on the grid, Jack. Number 7.
That's the number 7 that's got a... That's Daniel Munoz. So you can see just in the back of your picture there, the number 7 just been wheeled away. It's just pointing down to the left-hand side of his back. I'm not sure if he's been unable just to get into gear. I'm not sure what the issue is, but he has been wheeled off. Team members are on hand there to dive onto the bike and see if they can try and fix it. They haven't got long. It's only a 1
Probably
minute.
a pit lane start, won't it? Like we saw in the Moto2 race for one of the riders. They've got the bike going again, but...
He stalled it on the line because he kicked it back into line. So Munoz will have to start from pit lane then. The pit lane limiter is put on by him and it chunters its way past. So only a 92nd lap here, so he didn't have much time to get it sorted, but they have got it done, so he will start from pit lane. So that's another rider further down the grid who won't be able to get going. Munoz, the number 7, was supposed to start from the middle of the 3rd row of the grid. So that is a real disappointment for the number 7, and you can see absolutely fuming with that one, having stalled it on the line, but he has to recompose himself now. He's got 12 laps ahead of him. He may well be able to salvage some points, especially with a handful of riders unable to take the restart there after the red flag incident during the original start for this one. Trio of Estrella Galicia Junior Talent Team riders making their way around, fronted by the number 10 of Adrian Cruces. Looks over his left-hand shoulder to see Moreira, the Brazilian, the number 92 to his right, who now takes control of that trio of Estrella Galicia Junior Team riders. And Reiter behind them. Start this one from the middle of the 2nd row of the grid. He took the whole shot last time around after a poor start from, well, everybody on the front row of the grid. Guevara, Moreira and Sacco didn't get the greatest jumps, which allowed the likes of Milan and Reiter to come through from row number 2 to settle into 1st and 2nd place. Milan, your winner here last time around, again will be the last man to take his place. on 4th on the grid, but the front row is all set.
It's a long run into turn 1. So if you don't get the best of starts you can get in the slipstream as the lights come on.
Red flag moves out of the way, so let's give this one another go. European Talent Cup action in Albacete is underway for a second time. 12 laps ahead, a sprint race for the European Talent Cup, and it's a better start for Guevara, but again he's going to be out-dragged, this time by Moreira, but here comes Reiter once more. He's not going to be able to take the whole shot this time around. This time it goes the way of his teammate Moreira. A bit of a moment, a twitch on the rear wheel from Reiter as they flick left through turn number 2. Munoz eventually gets underway from pit lane. He should have started from 8th on the grid, but this time he's got a real mountain ahead of him to salvage any points. Back at the front though, and it's Moreira that leads, and now Reiter, his teammate, who's got in front of your champion Guevara for second.
Yeah, great start again from the two Australia Galicia junior team riders, and it's them two, the 92, Diogo Moreira, the Brazilian rider starting from the second row, who leads the way from his teammate, and then the championship winner from this year, Guevara, getting a better start than he did in the first start.
And already this leading trio have just started to detach themselves from David Alonso in 4th place. Well, it was David Alonso in 4th. Ferdinand Aldeguer has now got ahead of him. But Alonso, what a rocket start he's made. He was 12th on the grid and he's come through, well, was 4th, now 5th. Meanwhile, here's a move for the lead. Reiter up the inside as he go through turn number 10. Moreira will look to fight back, but can't do immediately. So now it's taken him half a lap compared to taking the whole shot last time around, but it's Reiter that hits the front here in Albacete with his teammate Moreira for company.
Yeah, the two leading Australia Galicia riders looking strong here, and it's Reiter again getting himself to the front early doors in the European Talent Group race. And remember, there's only 12 laps of this race, soon to be 11 to go, so it's a shorter race distance for the number 95 to keep the lead as we come onto the back straight. Expect the number 92 to tuck into the slipstream of his teammate and make a move into turn 1 as the riders sprint across the line. Not less than a second splitting the top 6 riders. No move coming from either your second place man Moreira or Guevara on that lap, but we are in for a cracker, I think, Jack, in this European Talent Cup race like we've seen for most of the races this season. Yeah,
because that leading trio have already been reeled in. Aldeguer fronting that second gaggle of riders has done the hard work early, and on that last lap he's able to get onto the rear wheel of Ethan Guevara. So, as is the norm in the European Talent Cup, we've got, what, 15 riders all fighting at the front, and any one of them could take victory. But as you say, with the race distance cut down to 12 laps, it means if they are going to try and fight their way through to the front, they're going to have to start making a move nice and early, because time will tick away from them at quite a rate. Here with now 10.5 laps remaining already.
Yeah, it's a better showing from the man in 4th place, Ferdinand Aldeguer. He didn't have the best of races, 2 races in Jerez, finishing 14th in, well, qualifying 14th in Jerez, so giving him a lot of work to do. As we see Adrian Cruzes, I think that he's diving up the inside of Milan in the battle for 8th place.
Yeah, they're a little bit further behind there. Meanwhile, these two on board the Australia Galicia machines just starting to get into a rhythm and just starting to cause Guevara a couple of problems, and Aldeguer can see that. So he's moved up the inside into the penultimate corner, turn number 13. Now into turn 14, the final corner. And Aldeguer will look to try and close in on the leading 2, because on that last half a lap, they were just able to break about 2 bike lengths clear. Meanwhile, as they come motoring past our commentary position, still Reiter that leads, but how long for? Here comes Moreira, has a look up the inside, but no way through. Now 10 laps remaining. Let's have a look further down the field. David Alonso still there in 5th. He's got his teammate Ortola for company. Dejira Sacco, having started from the front row of the grid, has had to settle into 7th place. But here comes Cruzes, the number 10 behind. He's looking pretty strong, is Adrian Cruzes. Another of the men that has to start from row 5 of the grid did Adrian Cruzes, but he's now picked off Sacco and he's got himself up to 7th place. Yeah,
13th on the grid for Cruzes, and he's trying to join his 2 Australia Galicia teammates at the front, and he's doing a good job of it at the moment, making steady progress through the field. But he's now got the 2 Angel Nieto team boys, the championship people in the championship of 2nd and 3rd, so a good little inter-team battle there for the best of the rest behind Ortola. But it's Aldeguer who's looking good at the minute. He's closed right in on your 2 leaders, and Ortola doesn't, Guevara doesn't quite have the pace at the minute to stick with the leading trio, but he might just be sitting relaxed. 10 laps to go, nothing to worry about at the moment as we come onto the back straight. Number 95, your race leader Jose Reiter, taking a big long look behind and getting a face full of his teammate Diogo Moreira.
You're right in what you say about Ethan Guevara, Elliot, because the leading trio have broken clear of him, and it looks like everyone is queuing up behind him. It's a bit of a surprise. It's the first time this year, really, that the Guevara hasn't had comfortable pace at the front of the race. But it looks as if he's just struggling out there, is Guevara, at the moment, because David Alonso, Ortolas and his teammate Sacco are queuing up behind him. Meanwhile, your race leader, Reiter, gets to wave on from his team as they come across the line, still holds on to first place as here comes a whole host of riders, a trio.
Guevara's lost 3 places there.
It's Ortola, Alonso and Cruces all diving up the inside of Guevara. Something's just not right with Ethan Guevara here. He's already wrapped up the championship, so it doesn't particularly matter, but I'm sure he was hoping to finish the season the same way that he'd started it. But a 7th victory of the year looks like it's just starting to slip away from him.
Yeah, the leading trio are now a good 8/10 clear of that man in 4th place, who is now David Alonso, the man 2nd in the championship, and just behind him there's him. Oh, that was close. Number 24 getting right up the rear of his teammate.
Ortola all over the rear wheel there. He's got such a funny style as Ortola as well. As he flicks left, as he flicks right, his left knee goes skywards, and then he does it the opposite way as well. You can see he's all arms and limbs, is Ortola. Number 24, only 14 years of age from Valencia, but he's already got quite a bit of stature behind him. He's not really built for these smaller European Talent Cup machines. Certainly, I'm sure he'll be hoping to move up to the Junior World Championship next year, where we may be able to just muscle around the slightly bigger machine slightly better.
He was our double winner in the wet conditions in Estoril, of course, so he was an early contender for the championship, but that's just slightly slipped away. He's 9 points behind teammate Alonso in the championship, so let's see that inter-team battle plays out. What's the gap between the top 3? Yeah, now up to a 2nd to the guys in 4th and the battle down there. So yeah, the top 3 just showing a little bit of superior pace, although on that lap David Alonso was slightly quicker, so the gap is just staying constant, but it is a big gap. So these guys are going to continue battling, so it's only going to allow the leading trio to break clear. Where is Guevara? I think he's just getting passed there by his teammate Sacco. The 2 Cuna de Campeones riders on the front row aren't having the best race so far. Can they recover with 8 laps to go? They've not got that much time, and a podium is slipping away from their grasp.
Ortola now at the front of that group for 4th place. He tries to close in on the leading trio of Reiter, Moreira and Aldeguer. Neither of them have really looked to put a move in on any of the guys in front of them at the moment. Reiter has just been allowed to lead the race, and with the gap growing to the men behind them, why wouldn't they? Incidentally, the fastest lap of the race has gone the way of Aldeguer in 3rd at the moment, of a 1:37.490. It is a brand new lap record because, well, the lap record previous to that held from 2017, a 1:39.0, so almost 1.5 seconds quicker than the lap record. It's just a little bit off the fastest ever lap, though, of a 1:37.044, but well, that was set last year. The fastest ever lap now held by Guevara from pole position at a 1:36.7. So these guys on the pace pretty quickly as they come across the line. As we've seen it throughout the vast majority of the race, Reiter, Moreira, Aldeguer, Ortola, having fronted that battle for 4th place, hasn't been able to close in that much on that lap. In fact, he lost half a second because he's been bullied and dusted up. It's now Adrian Cruces that's got to the front of the race, with Estrella Galizia looking to have 3 of their bikes inside the top 4. What a day it would be for them.
Absolutely, yeah. Cruces having a sterling ride up into 4th place, that leading battle, but that gap now stands just below 2 seconds, so it's looking difficult for anyone to challenge these leading trio. I'm just looking down the time screens. Joel Kelso, he got wheeled off the grid in the original race start, so he'll be one of the riders that was pleased to see red flags come out. He's in 9th place, so a good ride from the Australian. As we see the lap times compared to Reiter and Moreira, the teammates, barely anything in it, 10th in it, but as you can see on your screens, they are barely separated by a bike length. Coming into turn 10, one of the passing areas on the circuit, and will blast down into turn 11. Can anyone get the slipstream? Aldeguer takes a look behind him, and he's got a decent gap, so no worries at the minute for the number 54 rider.
1.5 seconds is that decent gap, or it was last time around. Cruces now taking control of that fight for 4th place. We'll have to see as they come into the penultimate corner now if he's been able to make any inroads to these trio ahead of him. But it's as we've seen it for the most part of this race. Rueda leads from Moreira, from Aldeguer. Moreira every once in a while just pops out and shows his front wheel to his teammate, but hasn't been able to make a move just yet. Here we go again. But again, Rueda holds firm. The gap stays constant, 1.6 seconds from the rear wheel of Aldeguer to Cruces in 4th place. Cruces was able to up the pace of that gaggle of riders behind him, and they're able to close in by only a 1/10 of a second. Meanwhile, a bit of a bobble there was that for Aldeguer in 3rd place. Hasn't lost that much time in this leading group though. So it stays as it is, with time ticking away though. We're at half race distance. Remember, the race was supposed to be 19 laps, but after an incident at the first corner on the first lap in the first try, have had a 12-lap restart here. It's a short, sharp dash for European Talent Cup glory, which Jose Rueda is currently fronting.
We just saw the 29th champion Guevara there. 8th place, not used to seeing him down in the lower ends of the top 10. We're used to seeing him in this battle for the front, but not this time around. And it looks like it's not going to be a podium for your championship. Instead, it's the number 95, number 92, and the number 54 who are leading the way at the minute as we come down into turn 11. And then we've got another kink before we head into turn 13. Who's that? Number 19 of Andreas Koffler. He's stopped out on track. Doesn't look like it's a crash. It looks like there's a problem with his Honda machine as we come round the Parabolica-esque turn, and we'll tick off another lap. And it's still line astern, not really making any moves. I'm surprised the number 92 hasn't made a move yet on his teammate. All running similar pace, so maybe he's just sitting behind him, just working it out and seeing where he can pass. And the number 54 Aldeguer is also doing the same. As we Sacco diving up the inside of 2. There's Cruces and Ortola. Great move from the Japanese rider. He now leads the battle for 4th place.
Great move from Dejira Sacco, slicing his way through both Ortola and Cruces. A bit of a bobble on the way into turn number 4 there, but just about holds on. The leaders are through turn 5, they then flick left through turn 6 as they get onto one of the 2 back straights here at the Circuito de Albacete. Again, Aldeguer just a little bit out of the seat there and loses a bit of drive. So they then flick left through the fast turn 7. Hard on the brakes then for turn number 8. And again, Moreira keeping close company on his teammate. Fair play to Rueda here, because he's standing up to the pressure that's been piled on him by both Moreira and Aldeguer in 2nd and 3rd place. He's led the race from the opening lap. He got the whole shot in the opening effort here. And he had to work a little bit harder on the 2nd try, but halfway around lap number 1, he took the lead away from his teammate Moreira, who you can see just looking over his shoulder there. We'll see he's just got one man for company in the form of Fermin Aldeguer. So he'll know exactly what's ahead of him in these final 4 laps, or soon to be 4 laps.
Yeah, showing no signs of pressure, is the race leader at the moment. He is after his first race win of the season, best of 2nd at Aragon, so he will absolutely love it if he can take victory here in Albacete. But they're line astern down the front straight. 95 holding the inside line. Is Fermin Aldeguer going to have a look up the inside? They're 92, I think he is, but not quite this time around. But there's only 4 laps to go, so if they're going to make a move, it's going to have to start coming soon.
But if they do start to make a move, then it may well just fall into the clutches of Dejira Sacco behind, who still held on to 4th place there. 1.5 seconds is the gap. He incidentally was 0.4 of a second quicker than the guys in front of him last time around. So if he can continue at that rate, he'll just run out of time ever so slightly. But I am absolutely certain that these guys are going to start fighting. And well, a bad day just gets worse for Daniel Munoz. An issue on the starting grid meant he had to start from pit lane. Now it looks like he's had a bit of an off whilst fighting back through the field. That's at turn number 1. The front end just folding away from the number 7. So a day to forget for the number 7, Daniel Munoz. But back at the front, here is Sacco. He's got Ortola and Cruces for company, and they are just starting to close in on our leading trio.
Yeah, they've just got to be clever now. Sacco's clearly got some decent pace. He was 4/10 quicker on that last lap than your leading trio. So the guys yeah, there's a trio for 4th place just trying to catch these guys. So they need to, with 3 and a bit laps to go, they just need to stick together and not make any silly mistakes, as Aldeguer now drops a little bit off the leading two. I'm not sure what happened there with Aldeguer, but he's now lost touch. You see the gap over the line. I think it won't be too much and he'll get the slipstream, but here we go then. 3 laps to go. It's still Reiter who leads the way. 92 pulling out the slipstream. Not sure he's going to go around the outside, or is he? No, Reiter breaks nice and late, but Sacco is closing down on your 3rd place man. What is the gap now?
0.8 of a second.
0.8.
Sacco, 0.7 of a second quicker that time around. He was only 0.1 of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race. Having completed 9 laps on that rear tyre. It's a great performance coming in, a great late charge from Dejira Sacco. There's a podium coming into reach, especially given the fact that Aldeguer is just starting to lose touch with the leading duo. Meanwhile, the Estrella Galicia talent team guys continue as they are. Reiter leading, Moreira tucked in 2nd place. The pair of them are yet to go to war yet, but here comes Moreira. Good drive through turn 7, but can't find a way through into turn number 8. 2.5 laps remaining. This is going to go down to the wire here in Albacete.
It really is. I'm not sure what happened to Aldeguer on the last lap. He must have made some sort of mistake because he's regrouping on this lap. He's clawing the gap back into the leaders, but Sacco's come in with him. This race is not over for the win and for the final podium place. So let's see what happens in these last 2.5 laps as we come down the back straight. Still Reiter leading. Like we've said, he's not showing any signs of being under pressure from his teammate. He's been there, locks on the tailpipes all race, as we see a shortcut at turns 1 and 2 for rider 84, who is
Zonta van den Gorberg.
Yeah.
Long lap penalty for him. He's currently 23rd, so any hopes of trying to bag some points look to have been slashed after he's been handed a penalty. There is Zonta. We'll have to take the long lap penalty, which is at turn number 4 as a result of shortcutting at turns 1, 2 and 3. Meanwhile, 2 laps to go, just 7 kilometres of the Circuito de Albacete remaining in the European Talent Cup, and it's still Jose Reiter that leads away, but it's still Diogo Moreira that is glued to the rear wheel of his teammates. Some pensive looks and some probably slightly nervous looks on the Estrella Galicia junior talent team pit box wall at the moment, because they feel like these two are going to start to go to war. The last thing they want is both of them ending in the gravel trap rather than both of them ending on the podium.
No, absolutely. That's the number from all of you, teammate. Don't hit into each other. Don't crash each other out. But these guys are young. They're all hungry for race wins. And the number 92 already has a race win this season. P1 at her F last time out. But the number 95, like we've said, is still searching for that number 1 spot on the podium. But let's see then, as we flick it right through turn 9 into turn 10. Is he going to have a look here? I'm not sure he will. No, sticks behind him still. Let's see what the gap is, to Sacco and Aldeguer, because it looks like it's closed down slightly.
I think they're just going to run out of time.
I think they are as well.
They may well just be able to get contact with them on the final lap, but I think it's just going to be too little too late coming from Sacco, Ortola and Cruz. It's going to take a real charge. Meanwhile, here comes Moreira. He's going to have to go the long way around there and no way through. So as we come into the penultimate corner, and now the final corner, just 1 lap to go here in Albacete, and it's Reiter that leads away. His teammate tucked in 2nd place. Surely, at long last, an attack is going to come from Diogo Moreira with now just 1 lap remaining.
Not sure he's close enough down into turn 1. No, didn't get. Looked like Reiter, your race leader, ran a little bit wide on the exit, but he got a good drive. So the number 92 of Moreira didn't quite get the advantage he would have wanted. As we see 3rd place now, Sacco is right with Aldeguer.
Here we are into turn number 4, a good overtaking opportunity, but no way through there. Moreira still holds firm in 2nd place. Reiter has rode brilliantly in this race, holding off the pressure of his teammate for every single lap that we've completed so far. He's just got half a lap to go to complete the job, but here comes Moreira out of turn 6 for the final time. The run up towards turn number 7, it'll be a brave move to go through there and no way through. And he's had a couple of looks over the past few laps into turn 8. Is there a way through? He moves to the inside. He's on the outside, sorry. It'll be a long way round for the number 92. Can he get him on the cutback? No, well played. Reiter holds the line as they go through the double apex left-hander. Now they flick right through turn number 8. Again, no way through. Hard onto the brakes through 9. Into 10 now. And again, Reiter holds firm. The pair of them pushing so hard now. This is going to be the best overtaking opportunity, surely. Down the back straight and into turn number 11. Can Moreira find a way through on his teammate?
It's going to come down to turn 13, Jack. Through this right-hander. Then we've got a little kink at turn 12. Then into the chicane at 13. Is he going to make a move. Surely he is. It's going to be the last opportunity. Here he comes.
Moreira looks up the inside, no way through. Hard on the brakes is Reiter. He's going to hold it. He's going to take a mistake through Reiter on the final corner for the Brazilian to take victory. It looks as though the victory's going to go the way of Jose Reiter. The young Spaniard holds off across the line. A brilliant ride from him. Held off so much pressure throughout the race for a first win of 2019. He's tasted victory once again in the European Talent Cup race after standing on the top step of the podium at Aragon last year. And it's an Estrella Galicia talent team 1-2 in that battle for third place. It was in the end too little too late from De Girasacco. He ends 0.072 of a second adrift of Aldeguer, who takes the final podium place. But Reiter, what a final lap. What a 12 laps from the young Spaniard. Only 13 years of age, but showed such maturity there. Never once allowed anybody in front of him, despite his teammate and Aldeguer looking left and right for a way through. He was strong on the brakes. He held the defensive lines when he had to, was fast and flowing when he had to be as well. Brilliant work from Reiter, and he's back on the top step for the podium in the European Talent Cup class. Big wheelie from Moreira. That's now 3 consecutive top 2 finishes for him. Second in the first race at Jerez, then picked up a first win in the second race, and he's now back to it with another second place victory. And delight for the bright yellow Firmin Aldeguer fan club, who, while celebrating, has stalled the bike, so a number of his crew have had to come and give him a helping hand just to get the bike back going again. It looks like he's struggling to get it going. Let's hope he can make his way around to Parc Fermé to celebrate another podium finish. Aldeguer, only his third of the season after picking up second in Valencia and Barcelona as well. There's your champion, Ethan Guevara. Well, it's not the form that we've seen from him in 2019, eventually coming across the line in 9th place, but he's wrapped up the championship. It's job done for him in a certain perspective. Just one race to go now in Valencia for Guevara. And Aldeguer still can't get it going. So he has picked up third place, but let's hope he can make his way back round to Parc Fermé to continue the celebrations. He's only down at turn 1, so it's not the longest of jogs for him to get back up to the top end of pit lane where the podium is. No such issues for both Estrella Galicia Junior Talent Team riders, though. The diminutive Reiter parks it up in P1 with his teammate Moreira there in second, and delight for the vast majority of that crew. It was a good ride from Adrian Cruces as well, so all 3 of the guys eventually inside the top 5. There's Aldeguer flashing up as 4th. It says 3rd on our timing screens. So we'll just have to make sure that it's not De Girasacco that's stolen 3rd place across the line. Our timing screen's telling us that it's 3rd for Aldeguer. But no, there is De Girasacco. So on the run towards the line, well, we thought it was too little too late, but clearly Sacco has just been able to pip Aldeguer across the line, and it's another podium finish for Sacco. So fair play to the young Japanese rider. Spanish/Japanese is Sacco, with his dad a Spaniard and his mum from Japan. And that is podium number 3 of the season for De Girasacco. Coming as a bit of surprise, and even he looked slightly bemused by it as well, but finds himself in P3 and back onto the podium. Keeping up the run of the Cuna de Campeones squad, whereby that is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 races in a row that we've seen at least one of their team in Parc Fermé. Helped, of course, by Ethan Guevara's run of 6 consecutive victories, but both De Girasacco and a couple of others in that squad, including the likes of Marcos Ruda, have helped out on that run throughout this season. So let's go down to Parc Fermé then. Jose Reiter picking up a first victory of 2019 and is now alongside Elliott.
Jose, your first win of the season, an incredible race with your teammate. How do you feel after that?
Yes, I'm so not very happy because it's a difficult race, but I know I don't know. It's incredible race.
Y en español.
Bueno, ha sido una carrera muy difícil, aunque me he escapado e he ido tirando toda la puerta. Ha sido una carrera de las que me gustan los fines de semana y se lo quiero agradecer mucho al equipo y a toda mi familia y a mis padres.
Gracias.
Just the one European Talent Cup race of the day here in Albacete. And the first race, well, it started in quite dramatic circumstances where 6 riders all went down in a skirmish in lap 1 involving the likes of Matteo Volpi, Vincent Falcon, Noah Detweiler amongst others as well, with Detweiler, the young Swiss rider, you can see rather frustrated to have been caught up in it and his weekend coming to quite an abrupt ending. As a result, the red flag came out, so despite Jose Rueda getting the whole shot from the second row of the grid, it meant that he'd have to do it all over again. Starting from P5 once more, whereas your champion, Ethan Guevara, started from pole position. David Munoz had to start from pit lane, after an issue on the starting grid. And this time around at the second attempt, it was a better start from Ethan Guevara, the 2019 champion, but he just got muscled out by Diogo Moreira on the opening lap. Rueda once again made a strong start though, the number 95, and it took him just half a lap to get in front of his teammate Moreira, and it would continue like that for the vast majority of the race. Fermin Aldeguer battled his way through to 3rd place, and then this leading trio would start to break clear. Rueda at the front with Moreira and Aldeguer in close company. Meanwhile, the battle for 4th place was quite a bit more hectic, with the likes of Ortola, David Alonso, Adrian Cruces and Dejira Sacco all fighting their way through. Meanwhile, for some reason, our champion Ethan Guevara was just unable to show anywhere near the same form that he'd had in 2019 and started to slip backwards. That battle for 4th place eventually was able to tag onto the back wheel of Fermin Aldeguer, and then on the final lap, the run towards the line, Rueda held off his teammate Moreira, but Aldeguer missed out in the closing stages by just the narrowest of margins, meaning 3rd place went the way of Dejira Sacco.
La carrera de la European Talent Cup. Los pilotos al podium, por favor.
So here come your podium finishes in the European Talent Cup. Diogo Moreira, a 3rd straight top 2 finish for him. It's another podium for Dejira Sacco, the 3rd of the year, but on to the top step of the podium for the first time in 2019, the diminutive Jose Rueda. Just 13 years of age, Rueda, and he certainly looks it as well. So Jose Gonzalez will hand over the team award to a member of the Estrella Galicia Junior Talent Team squad. Great work from them to have all 3 of their riders inside the top 5. 3rd place will go the way of Dejira Sacco. Rocío Algarra, Repsol representative, handing over P3 trophy to Sacco. 2nd place, courtesy of Amparo Torres, president of the consortium and vice president. I'll catch that soon. I couldn't really read it all out. But 2nd place, we do know for certain, has gone the way of Diogo Moreira, the Brazilian. And P1 for Jose Rueda, vice president of the FIM, handing over his first race winners trophy of 2019. And as a result, he'll get himself a nice cheque of €500, courtesy of Repsol, as Rueda with the long drive back to Sevilla tonight, and now gets to enjoy the Spanish national anthem.
Bueno, pues ahora nos toca a todos.
Congratulations to your race winner, Rueda. Now gets to spray the fizzy water. Nice little bit of a cool down here on a sweltering day in Albacete. There's his teammate. Rightly so, drenching him. Great battle between the pair today. Both now have 1 win under their belt for the 2019 season. And equally happy for each other. Great to see the partnership between those 2, and kudos to Sacco on the final step of the podium.
Y los que estamos abajo, que no hacemos nada.
So here is your final results from Albacete, the only race in the European Talent Cup. Jose Reiter from teammate Moreira and Sacco getting that final spot on the podium. Not sure what happened to Aldeguer. I think it was a slight time penalty for the Spaniard. He drops to 4th. Adrian Cruces making a good race from the low end of the grid up to 5th. There's your champion, Ethan Guevara. Quiet race for him. Not used to seeing him down in 10th place this season, but a top 10 nonetheless. Followed by Marcos Ruda, Rodriguez, Geiger for the points. There's Jack Hart there down in 24th, the young British rider. Solid ride from him in a heated battle by the looks of it for the top 20 positions. Zonsvan and Gorberg just behind him, and the whole host of riders, as we saw 5 or 6 riders going down at the first corner before a restart occurred. Getting information that Mario Mayer, the rider involved who was hit on the ground, is fit but with pain in his back, so let's hope he has a speedy and full recovery as soon as possible before the final race in Valencia that's coming up in a few weeks' time.
In terms of the championship, well, Ethan Guevara won't be toppled. He's already clinched the 2019 European Talent Cup Championship. The fight for 2nd place and 3rd place ensues, with Rueda, Alonso, Aldeguer and Ortola now separated by 9 points with just 1 race remaining. It's anybody's guess who's going to confirm 2nd and 3rd place on the championship podium when we get to Valencia in 4 weeks' time. Alex Milan there, 10 for the moment. Marcos Ruda, David Munoz, Lorenzo Fallon, Fenton Seabright, who incidentally we'll see in the Junior World Championship race coming up right next. He's promoted himself up into the Junior World Championship. Joe Kelso picked up 7th place and 9 points in that one, so he's doubled his tally up to 18. Like I said, Marcos Iriarte there. Josh Watley as well, another of the men that started the season in this series, but now battling it out in the Junior World Championship. So it was another tussle at the top in the European Talent Cup, going down to the last lap, but Jose Rueda held off his teammate Diogo Moreira for a first win of 2019.